Good evening to all. Permit me to adopt the protocol that was established previously. Ladies and gentlemen, our beloved Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, needs no introduction. His accomplishments in the academic, professional, and political fields have been widely acclaimed and are undoubtedly magnificent. Tonight, I am privileged to introduce him simply as a leader of class and distinction who has warmed our hearts by his conduct, behavior, patriotism, and performance. His ascension to the leadership of Team Unity in September 2013 provided the country with a clear alternative leader to what was. Dr. Harris was seen as an honest, competent, and experienced leader. The kind of leader that our country needed then and still needs. Many recall his powerful address in Parliament in which he took on the administration on behalf of our people. The statements, "If I perish, I perish, the truth shall be spoken," will long be remembered as a decisive moment in enlightened politics of liberation. With God's grace and the support of many of us, Dr. Harris led Team Unity to victory, and on February 18, 2015, he became the country's third Prime Minister. Dr. Harris has not disappointed us. He has led with good sense and sensibility. The government is indeed working for us. The delivery of over 50+ promises, including those on VAT, payments to former sugar workers, and indeed our double salary speaks well. I was not surprised that his work has received recognition by independent sources at home and abroad. Listed amongst Dr. Harris' most recent accolades are the following: recipient of the 2016 Gussie Peace Prize winner in the Philippines on November 23, 2016. The award is Asia's equivalent to the Nobel Peace Prize and is officially referred to as an award for great achievers of the world. 2. Recognition as 2016's Person of the Year by the St. Kitts Nevis Observer newspaper, announced in December 30th, 2016 publication. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you our esteemed Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Sylvester Harris.
Thank you very much. Could we give Claudia Thompson again another round of applause? I know her to be a very shy person, and so I was pleasantly surprised that she accepted the invitation from the committee to introduce me. And I want to thank her and commend her on those efforts. I want, of course, to acknowledge the protocol that has been established before me but to say how delighted I am that His Excellency, our distinguished Governor General, Sir Establish Seaton QC, has availed himself of the time to be here and to grace this gala event. Let us give him a special round of applause. And of course, we are equally delighted that the cabinet colleagues have turned out again to give support to this effort. I want also to especially welcome and thank my good friend and classmate, the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honorable Michael Perkins, and Mrs. Perkins for gracing us, I believe, on the first occasion. I want to especially recognize my friend and the Deputy Prime Minister and leader of the People's Action Movement, the Honorable Sean Richards, member for St. Christopher 5. We want to thank the Honorable Mark Brantley and Mrs. Brantley for coming. Let's give them too a special hand of welcome. The Honorable Lindsay Grant and Mrs. Grant. The Honorable Ian Liebert and Mrs. Liebert. Special welcome. The Honorable Eugene Hamilton. Let's give them all a round of applause. The Honorable Vincent Byron and Mrs. Byron. The Honorable Wendy Phipps. And of course, this function would not have been complete without the presence of our only surviving national hero, Dr. the Right Excellent and Right Honorable Sir Kennedy Alphonse Simmons and Lady Simmons. We are especially delighted that they are here with us. I want also to acknowledge Mrs. Amory, who is here, wife of the Premier, and my good friend and senior minister in the Federal Cabinet. Let's give Lady Amory a special hand of welcome. We are honored, of course, tremendously so, also by the presence of Mrs. Akila Byron, our newest senator and deputy speaker. And she is accompanied by her husband, Mr. Alexis Nisbet. Let's give him a special round of applause. And at the head table with me also, we are especially delighted that the Honorable Michael Steele, former Lieutenant Governor and member of the National Assembly, has agreed and consented to make himself available as our special guest speaker. Give him a special hand of welcome. It is well known that he is a former chairperson of the Republican Party. And with the new incoming Republican presidency, I am sure that we could find no more able a person than the acclaimed Honorable Michael Steele to be with us and to express his own personal views and what this incumbency may mean. So, Mr. Steele, we bid you welcome, and I was happy as we stood there greeting the guests. He met several Republican friends. So let's give them too a special round of applause. I must also thank a good friend, Mrs. Judith Blake, and her husband, Dr. Blake, who are here. Judith has, in a manner of speaking, adopted me too as one of her children. And in the very challenging period, few will know, and I'm sorry to lay out some state secret, Judith accommodated me very often at her home. Let's give her a round of applause. That those were the challenging era of 2013 to 2015. And with all to lose and nothing to gain, she showed me love, and I will always be eternally indebted to her. I want to thank her, for she is a woman of prayer. And our country and all of us need more prayer. So again, to a good friend, a charming lady, one who loved this country and loved people everywhere, Judith, I'm especially delighted. I give, of course, to everyone special welcome, because tonight will not have been possible without the turnout that we have had. The diversity which we see here represents St. Kitts at work. This is a positive development when all of us can come as friends, as former foes, as neighbors, as well-wishers. And what we share is in common is a love for a beautiful small country and a desire to see it shine, a desire to see it become a model for the rest of mankind and for all of human civilization. And I want to thank all of you for the roles that you have played in making St. Kitts and Nevis a small, unique, powerful, beautiful country of which all of us can be proud. Our aim in the end must be to accept diversity, the strength and the synergies of the diversity in building this country which we can all be proud, and the generations after us will be even more proud of our invaluable contribution. So I say thank you. Several of you have journeyed from afar. We have in particular 2 honorary consuls who journeyed all the way from Europe, the Ikens, and I want to ask them to stand. Gunul and I could you stand? Could we give them a round of applause? They have been in active service for St. Kitts and Nevis, and we are delighted that they would come and to share in this particular event. We also have visiting from afar, all the way in the Middle East, in Israel, a good friend. Could he and his wife stand? They are somewhere at one of these tables. We are delighted to have them. Lesgan, is there at your table? In any event, let's give those 2 a special round of applause. Oh, we are delighted that they have come all the way from the Middle East to be part. And it reminded me, as I stood and introduced so many to our featured speaker, that St. Kitts and Nevis is becoming a magnet for many persons, many nationalities. And by and large, St. Kitts is changing, but this change can be a change for the better for all of us in St. Kitts and Nevis. As I introduced a Russian friend who was here and marveled that this was a person who had become one of our citizens to the economic citizenship route. And the fact that they came, fell in love with our country, and decided to invest in 2 important facilities in our tourism plant, tells me that this must have been what Sir Kennedy and others dreamt about when way back in 1984, St. Kitts became the first country to have put forward an idea that has now got the attention of the rest of the world, that we can allow others to come to be part of our country, that we can allow others to come, welcome the contribution that they can make to our development and growth. And in that regard, the citizenship by investment program was given life. I want to acknowledge that there are several of our citizens who are here, who have come and who have stayed and who are making a very healthy, constructive contribution to the economic life. I want us to give all of them a round of applause for that contribution and to welcome them to continue to do more. And in that regard, I say we owe a debt of gratitude to Sir Kennedy and his administration for coming up with an original idea that others after us would copy. And so we are grateful and we bid special welcome to all of you and to all of us. This is a land that I love a lot. And I know it is difficult to measure love. In some respect, it is very subjective. What I find amazing is that each one of us, in our own way, can find something to love about St. Kitts and Nevis. And I would wish that my administration, the administration of your choice, through the next 10, 20, 30 years, would leave a lasting legacy of love of country, so that those who come will be so infected and, as it were, honed through that love which we must build, that they are prepared to give all for good of this country. I recall so often on the political platform, I would say that we want a St. Kitts and Nevis of which people can say, whether it is the land in the east or west, we love our St. Kitts and Nevis the best. That is still my hope. That is still what I believe the Team Unity administration must work for. Our legacy must and will be unity. Unity with all the biblical connotations and instructions and admonition. Psalms 133, how pleasant it is for brethren, and we had sistren also, to dwell together in unity. And the second verse of that psalm tells us that from unity, a lot of things flow. Prosperity comes. And I take the connotation from the oil that was running down the bed to speak of the abundance of life that comes when we are united. So tonight I say thank you. Thank you to those in the People's Action Movement who, when the hour of decision had come, they were able to see quite clearly that the country required a new movement, a new direction, and a new momentum. And that could not be following on the path of divisiveness and division. That could not be the triumph of party over country. And people therefore were prepared to put aside their own ambitions, their own aspirations, legitimate as they were, to say, on this day, we will try for a different formula that could bring success and prosperity for all, a different formula that will allow democracy, which was under threat, to again boom and bloom in St. Kitts and Nevis. A new time and a new beginning. And so I want to thank, on behalf of the country, the leadership of the Honorable Sean Richards and the Honorable Jean Hamilton, who as parliamentarians took the lead to reach out to the Honorable Sam Kanda and the Honorable Timothy Harris, along with our colleagues in the system, and to say, let's put country above party. Let's give all those who originated the idea a special round of applause. Equally, I thank those from the leadership of the Concerned Citizens Movement. that has been at the fulcrum of the political competition in Nevis, who too determined that a time for a new beginning had come, that a time for decision had come. And while the CCM perhaps could have stayed in the old time lane, that we are secured in Nevis, the leadership of the Honorable Vance Amory and others in his party look to one country, the beautiful country of St. Kitts and Nevis, and they made a determination that the country had to be secured and put and sound a platform for economic development and growth, and that Nevis could not be secure unless the Federation was and is secure. So let's give a hand of thank you to the leadership of the Concerned Citizens Movement, who defied the tradition of, as it were, parochial politics, the tradition of non-involvement, to become involved in making our country one of which we could all be proud. Team Unity then was the coming together of persons with an idea, with a vision for an alternative path to economic development and to the socio-economic development in particular of our country. I want to thank my colleague, the Honorable Sam Kanda, the Honorable Dwyer Astafan, and all those who were around the Labour Party who made a determination that the time had come for a new approach. What we have accomplished, several of them have been rehearsed by Claudette Thompson, could not have been had it not been for us working together as a team. And let's not fool ourselves. Teamwork requires great commitment. Teamwork requires solidarity. Teamwork requires love, and teamwork requires forgiveness, and at times even forgetfulness. Working as a team, particularly as diverse as we have been in groups in orientation, was for the country and for us a challenge. A challenge that some believe we could not surmount and overcome. Therefore, we would last perhaps 6 days by one wishful thinker. And then we would last 6 months. And then they gave us a year. And because we continued to shine and deliver, they stopped giving us any term limits now. So we could go on and on, to God be the glory. But I want to thank you, the wonderful people of St. Kitts and Nevis, because without you accepting the idea that the moment had come, we would not have had the meaningful changes in the socio-economic life of this country, which began on the 15th of February, 2015. There are so many persons to thank, and time will not allow me to do so. Suffice it to say that I am deeply indebted to all of you for your support, for your advice, for your counsel, for your prayers. Many in the legal profession volunteered support to us in our most difficult times during the 26 months prior to the elections. Many in the business community offered goodwill, little in cash, but plenty in goodwill and support. And we are deeply grateful to them for that support. It was the ordinary people to the streets of Bosnia and to rural St. Kitts and Nevis and Charlestown who basically, though, pushed this movement forward. It was the culture, the Washington Archibald. It was the ordinary people everywhere who had come to recognize that our political style, that is ever alive and ever on the attack and aggressive, had to change if we were to elevate our St. Kitts and Nevis. And so I say thank you to all of you, to those who I met in Nevis Street and in John Street and George Street, those who we met down in central Boston as we did house to house, those who we met the last Saturday at Frankland's, a group of some 20 or 30 with Lindsey Grant and Slyburn Camper, and a group of persons who had come from Mansion and Tabernacle with me to speak with them. Those who we met at West Farms, some 30-odd young people at a bar over the hill. These were the people who inspired me. These were the people who often said, "Bossman, nothing now go on for us. Why should we vote? Nothing now go on." These are the people that I hope that every day as we go to work, that we will give it our all so that we can deliver for more of them. And their lives of want and deprivation can become life, purposefully being lived and purposefully being put in service to all of St. Kitts and Nevis. And that is why some special interventions of the type we have brought together came so early. That is why we found a Fresh Start program to help the ordinary people who were otherwise left out on the periphery of access to financing. And in the short of less than 2 years, the way we are performing, some people believe we are there for 20 years, for that is a comparison to which they make with us. We brought in a program, thanks in part to the support of the government of Venezuela, a Fresh Start program, and we have provided small financial support to over 300 plus young and not so young people all over St. Christopher and Nevis. And because the job is not yet done, this government has secured a further $30 million that we have made available to the small man, the man for whom nothing now go on at all for, to give them an opportunity through entrepreneurship and enterprise to make something good for themselves, for their community. And that is why it is important that always we have an inclusive approach to our development. We understand enclave development, but enclave development is not the kind of development that Team Unity promised. We promise development for all. Our refrain, prosperity for all, a fair share for all, meant that we will listen and we will learn and we will respond, and we are doing so. Yes, I want to say that for some people this pace has been slow. But what I would say to that, this is a democracy. This is a democratic approach to governance. It is not a revolution that we had in the sense that there's a violent overthrow and you have these radical alterations in societies and programs of development. Only where you have those kind of changes could anybody go faster than we are going. For which government in their first term, anywhere around the world, not just in the Caribbean. We go larger. I challenge you to find any government in their first term that has done as much as the Team Unity administration has done in 23 months, not even 2 years. That is a record of accomplishments of which we are prepared to go and defend and to motivate our people to defend them, because they're all for the good of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And we understand, but we are going to make haste slowly. We will be thoughtful and we will be systematic in our approach to development. And we will not succumb to pressure. We will not succumb to the cracking of the whip from anyone, whether on the podium or on radio, because we have the confidence of the people. And we are listening to the people from the very elevated levels in which they are in our country to the lowest one. We hear them in the circus. We hear them in the market where I go so regularly. We hear them in our churches. Yes, we are a government that listens, but we have to manage the country in a way that keep it on the path of development and represent the values which Team Unity espouse. We have to remind ourselves often over and over, it was about change. It was about unity. It was about country above party. And the electorate gave us a unity government. It ensured that it gave no single party a majority, so that we must work together, and we must work steadfastly, and we must work cooperatively for the benefit of the people everywhere. Not for some people, but for all the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Our legacy will be that across the country we have united. Across the isms and schisms in our society, that we have united. And we did that out of a spirit of love. We build because we love. We want to build stronger families, stronger communities. We want to build unity across evangelical and Christian council, because there's one God. And rather than have the division, even among the religious flock, we would wish that they will come together. We will listen to the Rasta man as much as we will listen to the man in the high office of the central bank and TDC and Horsfords and wherever else they are up high. We will listen to the woman in the hospital in need of care and prayer. We will listen to the infamouses who spoke tonight through song about a love for St. Kitts and Nevis, and who says we want to do more. And so many of our talented people at home and abroad are wanting to do more. Through our People's Empowerment Department, we hope to again bond with our people everywhere, so that they too can join us in building a St. Kitts and Nevis about which all of us can be proud. So with these few words, Dawn, and perhaps too many words, I did not go with my prepared script, you would have noticed. I want to say thank you and to welcome all of you, and to really hope that tonight will be a memorable experience of all of us enjoying in spirit for building this beautiful land of St. Christopher and Nevis. To God be the glory. I love you all.